And then we say, okay, now go back to work and we'll see you in, 4 or 5 months and we'll show you what we've found. So in some ways you have to respect that these people are really busy and don't have time dedicated to this. And that's one of the ways that we see ourselves as being a value add to the ecosystem is we'll take on the work to do this education and make these connections.
Okay, well, let's step back for a second here, Nate. I mean, we've kind of danced around this, but I want to dig in a little bit on, problems and how we find them, right? The whole idea of the Horizon program is that sometimes you can't just take your procurement team and go shopping for a solution off the shelf to whatever's bothering you, right? That, with innovation, with real change, if you're under threat, you really need to fall in love with a problem. You need to embrace kind of the fact that maybe you don't know what the best solutions to that problem might be. You need to go kind of seek the state of the art, seek the influencers, et cetera, and learn. And I think, one of the things that we've mentioned is I think a lot of companies forget just how many assets they have to bring to the table there. Like even as a small or medium-sized organization, you have not just maybe capital, but you have expertise, you have feedback, you have connections. But also people forget to do this thing that is actually really hard, which is stay grounded in the problem and not try and design a solution. So from your experience, Nate, like how has this gone in the Memphis ecosystem? How has it gone? How has it worked to keep your corporate partners grounded in a problem statement through a process that, as you've said, can last many months, actually, well, there's forces that are driving them to go solve it.
So I think it's gone pretty well, and one of the reasons for that is because of the specific profile of companies that we like to work with. So we talked a lot about FedEx earlier, but FedEx, they've got a whole department with a whole team and a dedicated budget, and
Sure.
that does this day in, day out. That's identifying problems, that's sourcing innovative solutions. And I mean, in the last year, they've done a bunch of really exciting, cool partnerships with new innovative tech companies. They've done a big new data sharing program with Kites. There's a couple others that I can't remember off the top of my head. So FedEx, they don't need this program. They actually have a bigger budget for this program that they run internally than we do. But because of what I mentioned earlier about all of these geographical assets, the logistics industry in Memphis outside of FedEx is also huge. So there's like 3,600 operating logistics companies here. So our sweet spot is these companies that are, they're not small, right? Some of these companies have like 500 plus employees, in some cases, hundreds of millions of dollars of revenue, but they are small enough that everyone at the company is focused day to day on doing the job of the company, right? Just doing the work of getting the packages from place to place or finding transportation and brokerages for their company or for their customers. So they know they have problems, right? But it's no one has the time or the resources to solve those problems. So in that niche of companies, we're able to really basically say, hey, if you spend 7 hours with us, right? That's about how long this 2-day problem discovery workshop takes overall. If you spend 7 hours with us and focus and actually work with us on identifying these problems, we will actually really get to the meat of some of what is hurting your company, right? Is harming your bottom line, is reducing efficiency. And then this is actually, I think, also part of the way we do it. And then we say, okay, now go back to work and we'll see you in, 4 or 5 months and we'll show you what we've found. So in some ways you have to respect that these people are really busy and don't have time dedicated to this. And that's one of the ways that we see ourselves as being a value add to the ecosystem is we'll take on the work to do this education and make these connections.
It's actually a huge benefit, right? Like to contextualize this in these larger companies, you are able to take on the role that a dedicated innovation organization might perform in larger enterprises, right? And
Exactly.
I think what's really important about that is that you're also able to aggregate and centralize expertise, right? Every one of these companies would have to learn this on their own. you're
Yep.
able to combine the best practices and able to operate. Like, I'll be honest, I've seen Epicenter operate. We've been partnering with you. I've seen innovation organizations at many enterprises operate. You're able to operate at a level that meets or honestly exceeds
Oh,
most of the corporate innovation organizations that exist out there. And um, I think that's actually a really important point, that you're able to sort of extend the capability to do real innovation, scouting, assessment, and work, you know, into organizations that are very resource constrained, because this does take time, and in fact, it takes time more than money.
yeah, for sure. No, this program is relatively cheap for us to run. I mean, it
Yeah.
does cost money, of course, but compared to if this was a intensive capital accelerator, right, where folks are getting
Sure.
$50,000 of investment, I mean, it's much cheaper, and we're a resource constrained organization as well, so we kind of
I
have
think
to
we
think
mentioned it,
about
but
it
you're a
that way.
nonprofit, right?
Right? Yes,
Yeah.
we're a nonprofit, so this work is funded by grants.